If we don't agree, ooh.
But we just need
We need a quorum, and we're a quorum.
yeah, you need a majority vote on that, so.
Yeah,
Okay.
okay. And I think we are ready to start. It is 6 p.m., so let us stand and do the Pledge of Allegiance. Steve, will you lead us?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I know, gosh, this is going to be interesting. Okay, roll call.
Commissioner Salgin,
Here.
Commissioner West, Commissioner Collins, Commissioner Stevenson,
Here.
Commissioner Vayu, Commissioner Van Essen.
Here. At this time, we are able to have public discussion about anything that is not on the agenda. So if you are here and would like to talk to us about something that is not on the agenda, this is your chance to speak with us. Anyone? Seeing there is no one. Approval of minutes for our last meeting. Everybody have a chance to review it, and we have a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve them.
Second.
Okay.
Move call, just saw there
I'm the only one who gets to vote.
it is. That's right.
All right, they've been approved. At this time, we will have our public hearing. The sequence of events is this: I will announce the item to be heard. The city staff will present a report and a recommendation. We'll then open the public hearing. If you wish to testify, we're going to ask that you go up to the microphone over there. You will state your name and your address. And the order of testimony is the applicant, then those in favor, those in opposition, and rebuttal by the applicant if necessary. After all the testimony has been given, we will close the public hearing, we'll discuss the item, and then we will make a decision. If you do not agree with our decision, you do have the right to appeal it. You can talk to Shelby or to Ken what you need to do to appeal it. Just make sure you've signed in the back that you did attend the meeting, if you think that you might want to appeal our decision. So the first item on the public hearing is the tentative parcel map, PM 22-79 for 1265 Moeller Road, Gary Moeller. Kent.
Thank you, Madam Chair, fellow commissioners. The application here in front of you tonight is to subdivide a 17.79 acre parcel into two separate parcels located at 1265 Moeller Road in the Urban Reserve District. The purpose of the subdivision is to separate an existing residential farmhouse from the larger parcel in order to facilitate some estate planning for the Moeller family. Trying to get the map up for you guys.
Well, we have it in front of us.
Okay.
But,
The tentative parcel map indicates subdividing the property from about 17.79 acres, which is, it contains the existing farmhouse and a cherry orchard, into about a 17.15 acre, which would just be the cherry orchard and some outbuildings, and a 0.64 acre site, which would include just the old farmhouse. The proposed tentative parcel map does comply with the MAP Act and all city standards. There we go. Thank you. So there's the site map location, and this is a little bit, this is the Google Earth image of it. It sits out right on the edge of town. It is in city limits, but they're trying to split off the red parcel up there, which is the original farmhouse from the property, and then the rest would remain as the cherry orchard at this time. Due to its rural setting and lack of available public services, the applicant will not be required to hook up to city services or install curb and gutter and sidewalk at this time. The applicant will, however, to be required to enter into what we call a deferred improvement agreement with the city of Ripon, which will stipulate that the frontage improvements and hooking up to city services will be required when the larger parcel, so the cherry orchard, is developed. The deferred improvement agreement shall be executed and adopted by the city council prior to filing the parcel map. So you guys will vote on a parcel map tonight, and then there's several steps that have to take place with the county, and then it comes back to city council for the council to direct the city engineer to sign the final map before it becomes official. So before that final acceptance by the city council, directing the city engineer to sign the map, the deferred improvement agreement will be in place and executed and recorded against the property. So there's the aerial view of the property. Here's the farmhouse here as it sits currently today on the site. And then, of course, this is the tentative parcel map put together by the survey engineer, showing the parcel up here with the house. The resultant parcel does meet the zoning requirements for that area, which would be R1E, which is single-family estate lots. Minimum size for those lots is 16,000 square feet. This parcel is 27, or almost 28,000 square feet, and it does meet the dimension regulations. So what they are creating will fit in with future development in that area. So we did forward the project to all affected agencies, and the comments and conditions of approval we received during that period are in the staff report as conditions of approval. And there's a recommended action in there for you tonight. At this time, I'll turn it over to you, Madam Chair, and be happy to answer any questions.
I did notice that it was checked by that would have been like the county, or for a potential flood area, so it's not in the flood zone?
Not in the, no, it's not in the flood zone.
Okay. And then, I'm trying to remember if it was this one or just the other one that we're hearing tonight. Is this one considered an urban reserve area also?
This is, the reason they're not rezoning at this time is because they're not hooking up to city services or developing the lot. House is existing. At some point in the future, he said when the Cherry Orchard develops, this property will go through a rezone and be required to put in curb gutter sidewalk and hook up to city water and sewer at that time.
So right now it's in urban reserve. Can you explain in a little further detail what urban reserve is?
Yeah, urban reserve is kind of a holding pattern for the city. We put properties in urban reserve that are meant to be residential in the future. It requires people to come to the city to go through that rezone process. So also allows us to get into development agreements with properties that are looking to subdivide even further and develop subdivisions. It just gives us that opportunity to work with them on that and get into development agreements.
So that was part of our general plan the last time we updated it and stuff.
So both projects tonight were put into urban reserve
Yeah.
because they were brought into the city in the current configuration they are.
Okay,
And when they go to further develop, like the second parcel map you're seeing tonight, that they are going through a rezone because they are going to further develop those properties.
okay. And then just one other question. So this deferred improvement agreement, that we won't hear back on that again. That will just go directly to the city council.
Correct. It'll be something that the city attorney's office puts together, and then the city council will adopt that. It'll get recorded against the property. And so when the larger parcel does develop, that's when that will trigger the improvements on this site.
But if they do have a development on that larger piece of property, we'll probably hear that at that time, correct?
Yeah, at some
Okay.
point it would come before the
Okay.
planning commission, and you guys make a recommendation to city council as well on those too, for any subdivisions that are larger than 4 parcels.
Okay. Any questions from?
Just curious,
Steve?
the trigger for the curb gutter sidewalk, is that at the time of rezoning, or is it at the time of the development agreement? So,
It would be both. So the development agreement and rezoning would take place at the same
Same
time.
time.
So when the larger parcel, which is the Cherry Orchard, which they're cutting this piece out of, when that piece develops, it'll trigger the requirements on this parcel as well.
Okay.
And the rezone and everything that goes with that.
Thanks.
Steve, anything for Ken?
I do
Okay.
not.
Okay. Would the applicant like to address us?
Yes,
We need you to go up there and, so you get recorded. Because Shelby's got to type all this up.
thank you, Madam Chair. Yes, my name is Gary Moeller, 1265 South Muller Road. I'm the applicant for this parcel map. And I just want to say this is just for real estate, it's just for estate planning, and there's no plans for developing this parcel or the larger parcel at this time. So if you have any questions, staff could answer them, so.
So do you live at the house
Yes, I
there?
do.
Oh,
Yep.
okay,
Yep.
okay. Okay.
That's,
Actually, you answered my question when you said you didn't have any plans for development at this time. That was
Nope.
what I was curious about. Okay.
I'm sure there's some people who would like you to develop it.
yeah, some people would and some people don't, so.
Yeah,
Yep.
Okay. Any other questions for Gary? Okay.
no.
Thank you.
Anyone else who would like to speak in favor of the project? None? Anyone who would like to speak in opposition? All right, seeing none, we will close the public hearing. Do we have a motion or discussion or?
I don't need to discuss anything. I can make the recommendation here.
Okay.
So the planning commission, our recommendation would be for the planning commission to approve the tentative parcel map. That's PM 22-79 for Gary Mueller, based on the findings and subject to the conditions of the staff report.
I'll second.
All right. All right, that passes. You guys are good to go. Unless you want to hang out and listen to the rest. You're welcome to.
It's so interesting.
It gets real
Come
exciting
on.
later. I promise. Hey, there's only 3 of us. There's not a lot of talking going on here. All right, so their second is a tentative parcel map, PM 22-76 for 820 North Stockton Avenue and rezone Z 22-75 for 820 North Stockton Avenue and 225 Franklin Lane. Ken?
Thank you, Madam Chair, fellow commissioners. Yeah, like you said, the request tonight is to rezone 2 properties and to subdivide one of those 2 properties into 4 single-family residential parcels in order to construct 4 single-family homes on the larger parcel and then also 1 single-family home on the individual parcel. Like you said, the parcels are located at 820 North Stockton and 225 Franklin Lane, as you can see here on the vicinity map. The owner is requesting to rezone 2 of the properties, the 2 separate properties there. They're both currently zoned urban reserve. Again, those were, when they were annexed into the city, were not developed at that time. They came in as like farmhouses with outbuildings. One of the parcels was a larger parcel on Miljo that the back half of the property was split off. So these are the 2 that are getting rezoned. They're being rezoned to R1 single family residential, which is exactly what is surrounding it. So the lot sizes are consistent with the surrounding neighborhoods. So the request is to go from urban reserve to R1, which is consistent with our general plan land use map. Let's see here. Kind of zoom in. So secondly is the parcel map application, which is in front of you tonight. Wishing to take a single parcel and create it 4 single-family lots. 2 of the lots will face North Stockton Avenue, one of which already contains a single-family home, which the applicant intends to modify to meet current setbacks once the parcel lines are set up. And then the other remaining lots will have new single-family homes constructed on them. The other 2 remaining lots will face off of Franklin Lane. If you can see kind of down here where they're gonna do some improvements to the roadway there, install curb gutter and sidewalk, and bring services into those lots. So the following improvements will take place for the entire property. Let me zoom in here. There is currently curb gutter and sidewalk on North Stockton Avenue. However, none of the property has sewer or water services to them, so they will be bringing water and sewer in from Stockton Avenue to the 2 lots in the front there on Stockton. Part of that would contain trenching out to connect into sewer mains and water mains. They will trench patch those and then slurry seal the entire road so it looks consistent and back to normal. On Franklin Lane, there'll be some roadway dedication along with a public utility easement for the 2 lots there. So there'll be curb, gutter, and sidewalk put in, some roadway dedication to complete the bulb out there, and the PUE. They'll be bringing services in for those 2 on those lots as well from Franklin Lane. Same as on Stockton, where they'll trench out to the street to get those, slurry seal the entire roadway back so it looks normal. And then the utility services, the dry utility services for those back 2 lots will be all underground into the property, which is consistent with the neighboring properties. North Stockton, there is some overhead utilities, one currently going to the existing house, so that those could remain overhead. The lots being created are consistent with the R1 zoning. They actually exceed the lot sizes that are required by our code in size and dimensions, so everything's fairly normal on those. We haven't we don't have any plans yet as to housing, the single-family houses that they intend to build. We haven't seen any of those plans yet, but they do intend to build single-family homes on these lots. So here's some pictures currently of this is from North Stockton Avenue. This is the existing home on North Stockton from one view there. And then here's kind of the remaining part of that lot. As you can see, it's a large area on the side. And then in the back on Franklin Lane, they will be removing this retaining wall, doing some grading on the lots, and removing these outbuildings, which has been quite a bit of some code enforcement with the city over years, just with maintenance and deferred maintenance on those. So those buildings will be taken down, and those lots will be graded out for single-family homes. We did submit these applications out to all the jurisdictions, and we had a project review committee meeting, and the conditions of approval and the concerns that were brought up have been included in the staff report where appropriate. At this time, I'll turn it back over to you, Madam Chair. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Okay. I noticed there's a grade difference between neighboring lots, and the proponent agrees to install property line retaining walls. Is that on Stockton, that grade difference is?
Well,
I
you
went
can
out
see
there
the
and
back
looked.
side of the site
Yeah.
here on these pictures here. There's a great difference there. Stockton's fairly level with the road.
Okay.
This
Yeah.
parcel on the back here on Franklin Lane, they'll have to do some grading, obviously, to get access to those. If there's a difference in elevation between the lots, they will have to put retaining walls up on those property lines, so as to make sure that the stormwater is maintained on their own parcels.
Is that going to affect existing houses that are there now?
No.
Or this will be just on the new development? Okay,
Correct.
okay. Yeah, because were those old chicken coops?
They look like it. I said they
I
look
thought so.
like it.
I remember those days back when, yeah. Any other questions for Ken? Steve or George?
Ken, I'm looking at the parcel map, and the existing home that's there, is that lot 1, lot 2? Is that,
That'll be on lot 1. They're actually going to modify that existing structure till it meets current setbacks
Okay,
for
so-
the R1. So they are looking to demo some of that and
Okay.
then remodel the entire house.
and then what kind of driveways will be required off of North Stockton?
They currently it's drive over curb now, that's there, so they'll just, wherever the driveway will end up on one side of the house or the other, on that one. They will include garages, with the houses. So there's currently the driveway right now, right here for that house, so it depends how much they extend over.
Yeah, I'm just thinking for the next parcel over. whether
Oh,
it's just
so
a-
it is drive over curb, so they can place the driveway almost anywhere there.
And it doesn't need to be circular or K or any of that? You can just back straight out?
So that existing house does not have, is not hooked to city water or sewer yet?
Correct, it's
It
not
has
hooked to
its-
any
okay,
city
septic
service.
tank.
Yep, and those will be abandoned, appropriately abandoned at the county with county permits. So they'll be abandoning septic and wells on that.
It's a bit of an expense. Anything else, George?
No, I think I'm good.
Would the applicant like to speak with us?
Good evening. It's kind of cold outside. So just give you guys
Your
a.
name and address, please.
Oh, my name is Manuel Alaniz. My address is 4114 Hubbard Road in Stockton, California. And that's it, right? Okay. And so a little bit about the project. So that existing house, as Ken said, we're gonna demo pretty much half of it, cut it in half, so it can meet current setbacks. So essentially, it's gonna be a completely new build at that point. And our intention and what the architects are already designed and something that we want to do is single-story homes, and they're going to be about 2,300 to 2,600 square feet. And so that's that project. And then the other project on 225 Franklin, which is that single lot over there, it's actually going to be my personal home, but on that one, I am going to go 2-story.
Okay. So your plan is to move to Ripon?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
It's just been on my to-do list, but finally getting moving to it.
Good for you. Any other questions for Manuel? Just hang with us a minute.
All right.
I sometimes move too fast through
Oh,
this
no,
stuff.
you're good.
You're doing good. I think it's all pretty well answered here.
Yeah, I don't have any.
Okay. All right, thank you,
I'm
Manuel.
good.
Thank you.
Okay. Anyone else who would like to speak in favor of the project?
I just have a couple questions now.
Okay, come on up there and we'll try to answer them.
So my name's Phil Bartlett. I live at 751 Heritage, which is right there at the corner. If you go to the slide that has the wall and the elevation where you can see. So my question is, that retaining wall goes all the way up my yard, almost to my house, and I'm just curious what's going to happen with my lot lines when they do that demo. Are they going to tear that wall out all the way up to my house?
No, so the lot lines will remain the same your property lines won't change at all. They'll demo their portion of the wall probably back to a certain point and make sure it ends appropriately.
Okay, because that will leave, if you're standing at the bottom of that, that's probably 8-foot fence. So that would leave an 8-foot fence between me and my new neighbor in the front yard.
Correct.
It's going to stay that way?
Yeah, it can stay that way. It'd be up to you to work with the developer on that.
Okay,
to figure out.
I didn't think you could do that in the front yard. I thought it had to be lower.
It's existing the way, it's existing there now, so if they demo it back to a certain point, it would be able to stay. Just depends on how you guys want that thing to finally look, if you want
Okay.
to kind of take that down.
Okay. And then the other question is, when they demo those things, are they going to do any animal abatement? Because the rats and raccoons and possums are going to scatter when they tear those things down.
Yeah. That's gonna be, I mean, from my perspective, that's the beauty of getting rid of those buildings.
No,
because, yeah,
we've been,
Yeah,
I talk to Dean Uger all the time. Every time I see him, I tell him to tear those things down.
yeah, yeah.
But because we've dealt with the rats already at our house, and we have a service and everything, but I just know when they tear those down, those things are gonna go everywhere. Hopefully they go to the bigger, nicer houses than mine, but.
Leave a little trail
We'll put some rat traps out across town.
But yeah, those were my only concerns. I was just curious how it was gonna look in the front, and then,
Okay.
like I said, what happened when they tear those down, so.
Okay, so, animal, anyone else who would like to, oh, we got another taker here.
Another taker.
All right.
My name's Edward Menez. I live on 758 North Stockton, just south of the Lot 1 on there. So my number one concern is when they tear down the outhouses, the
Outbuildings.
outbuildings, the rodent control, because they're going to go somewhere, and I don't want them coming into my house. So I have some real concerns. You know, I hope that they're
planning on going in there and doing some control before they tear them down, so they just don't scatter. And then, I guess you can answer what your plans are with that. And then also our property line adjoining, when they did the development behind us, when they surveyed that, the property line is, our fence is about 2 feet over on our property. So are you planning on building a new fence on the property line, or purchasing that property from us? Because when they developed behind us, our fence was on their property. So in order to keep the extra property that wasn't ours, we had to purchase that property. So I just have those two concerns.
Okay. Have you met with the developer at all?
No.
Okay. Okay. We'll try to answer those. Okay.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
Edward. Thank you. Anyone else that would like to address us?
My name is Tom O'Donnell. I live at 363 Franklin Lane, about a block down the street from the development. The biggest
Sorry,
question
your
I
first
have
name-
is
Your first name again?
Tom
Tom, okay.
O'Donnell. If you kind of go back to the plot plan that was showing the units 3 and 4, the question I have, kind of to mirror your question, is I'm really curious how the driveway is going to connect to the road. Because with the elevations and everything there, I think that's going to be a challenge. And I don't know if you really thought that through very well, because looking at that map, I don't know how you're going to do it. I'm an engineer. I do this, I've done this stuff a number of times. I'm just kind of wondering. So anyway, that was one of my questions. And the second question is the property to the east of that berm there. Is that part of the package, or is that totally separate, or what's going on with that property? That's where the field got caught on fire and put the house next door to it. And that's why I'm really interested in that one, because that scared the heck out of us.
Okay.
Are you familiar with that lot?
Yeah, okay, we'll go through all these questions.
Okay.
Okay.
So those are my questions. It's not opposing it. I'm just
Okay.
trying to get clarification.
Okay, great,
Thank
thanks,
you.
Tom. Good questions. Let's work backwards, Ken. Sure. Let's start with that property, that property would be by Lot 4, correct? That's vacant there. Is that vacant land part of Lot 4 or not?
So the vacant land, which is actually sitting right here, this is the one, it did catch on fire a couple years back and ended up burning a house that's over here, or part of it. That's not owned by the applicant at all. It's somebody that owns.
Someone else
Somebody
owns
else
that.
owns those. There's two parcels there. Somebody else owns that lot.
Okay,
As far as grading, they're gonna have to just grade the lots appropriately. They might have to haul quite a bit of dirt out of there to get these graded down to be able to have more of a driveway to come into the property. It's not uncommon that you see that a lot with subdivisions where they grade subdivisions out. A lot of times they put retaining walls up where there's elevation differences. It's gonna be the same challenge this developer's gonna have.
and we have the city engineer looking at this as well, correct?
They'll submit plans.
they're gonna make
They'll
sure.
submit plans for the curb gutter sidewalk, all the improvements there. They haven't developed the plans yet, but that is a requirement that they submit plans for all that,
Okay.
to be approved. So it'll work through its proper channels here.
So will we see those plans or not? It's
No,
not something
it's
that will
just,
go
it's
to us?
just curb gutter sidewalk is all
Okay.
the plans are gonna be, and lot elevations.
Okay. Going back to Edward's question about the property line, I know we can't just randomly change property lines, so even if the
So
fence.
I guess I'm a little, what I'm understanding is the current fence is 2 feet over onto the new property?
Onto his property, so the current fence is imposing on his property.
If you look from North Stockton Street, if you look towards the back, you can see where when they develop behind, you can see where they moved the property line over about 2 feet. So actually, at their property, the fence comes down, and do anything with that.
Okay.
Your fence is about right here somewhere,
Yes.
so you,
They actually came out and then, there were some surveyors out there. And it looks like they were, looking for the property pins out towards the front, so they dug a couple holes and they're about 2 feet or so over from where the current fence is.
so you own 2 feet, that's kinda, looks like it's in the neighboring lot.
Yes.
Yeah. So developer obviously can't build a fence on your property without your permission. He'd have to put a fence up on his own property line. That would leave the 2 feet of yours available for you to recapture, put back into your yard. He can't, unless you guys agree to, purchase property or do something like that with a lot line adjustment. Other than that, he can only put the fence on his own property line there.
Is that the plan?
No, so the surveyors go out and they got, so they didn't include your side of the property. So what we're gonna do is just build a new fence and we can just talk about what we do with the old property, so we can have the old property.
Okay, that works.
Good. Animal control. That's a big question. Is that the city's responsibility, the developer's responsibility, or is just?
It'd be the developer's responsibility. I mean, rodent control it is tough to deal with. We've had a lot of buildings that get demoed. They get a demo permit, but, usually they're checking for asbestos and things like that before they tear it down. I've never heard of anybody doing rodent control prior to that, but, maybe they could do it. The city only typically gets involved with code enforcement when there's infestations of stuff. Rodent scattering from a building coming down, it'd have to become a pretty big issue for code enforcement to get involved to deal with.
So Manuel, how do you feel about that? Are you gonna do something ahead of time, or? It's all right.
No, what I'm gonna do is, I can just call a pest company and they can evaluate the situation. And again, I don't wanna impose on anybody's well-being, to be honest with you, so we'll just go by what they say. And again, I was kinda thinking, as you guys were saying, how would we do it beforehand? Like, I guess that's a question for me to ask them. And then we'll just deal with it formally after that.
Okay, great. So you're gonna get the experts out ahead of time?
When do you anticipate starting?
So the demo of that, so the plans for the remodel, those are gonna be submitted first, and we're gonna submit those, next month. So let's say it goes through all the proper channels, I think we're gonna start like hopefully March, early April.
Somebody got to assume put bait traps in there at the same time, do amazing things.
It wouldn't do that.
Okay.
BJ's Consumer Choice is who we use for ours. And 2 years ago, when they were cleaning out the chicken coops,
Mm-hmm,
is when we saw an infestation of rats.
Right.
They just came straight towards our garage, and our garage and attic, everything was just like
Car engines.
car
boats,
engines, our boat, everything was
Mm-hmm.
just BJ's Consumer Choice.
So
Yeah,
it,
out of Antigua.
mm-hmm.
it is a major concern because, nobody wants rats and stuff coming into.
No, I understand, yeah.
Wires,
I mean, they were in the engines underneath the cars, and they were,
it becomes a
it was a
big
nightmare.
Yeah, I understand completely. I have an insurance business, so I get it, yeah. Okay, so it sounds like a little communication?
Yeah.
You guys met each other? We're gonna be okay?
Gonna be our neighbors.
Yeah, yeah. So you're gonna invite him over for dinner, maybe have some rat legs or something, Yeah, okay. All right, any other questions before we close the public hearing for these fine gentlemen and women? Okay, we will close the public hearing. Any discussion or any motions?
I'll make the motion that the planning commission approves the 820 North Stockton Avenue tentative parcel map, PM 22-76, based on the findings and subject to the conditions of the staff report.
And then how about number 1?
Above it?
We have 2, the one above it, yeah.
Oh, and I'll make the motion that the planning commission recommends that the city council approve the rezone of 225 Franklin Lane, 820 North Stockton Avenue, Z 22-75, based on the findings subject to the conditions of the staff report.
And I would second that, both of those.
All right, looks like we have some improvements coming to that area. Yay.
Exciting.
Get those rats. Get those rats. All right, thank you very much, guys.
Best of luck to all of you.
Yeah,
Thank
yeah.
you.
I think it's gonna be a great improvement. Get rid of the, get rid of the wells and the septic tanks and those buildings. Yes, it'll be good. All right, thanks a lot. All right, so, let's see, what do we have left? Reports.
Well, since you guys are doing so well on parcel maps, we have another one for you in January.
Yay.
Vera and Doak Boulevard, there's a larger parcel there that's got an older home on it that's looking to create 3 parcels, one including the older house itself to stay there. And then we do have a townhouse project, 16-unit townhouse project right there by the cemetery on Gilbert Drive. That's coming before the commission.
Oh, okay.
It'll be rentals, rental townhouses, so they're not parceling them up into individual lots, but a nice looking project actually. So those are the 2 items, be in January, and might be something popping up in February. We're still working on a few things. If they don't get the application in, they might slip to March, but we'll kind of figure that out.
So did we notice, were there a lot of rats, et cetera, that flew out of the old Ripon Christian when they took that down? I kind of watched it. I went to pick
I
up my
wasn't watching
grandkids,
it.
and I didn't see anybody running out of there.
I wasn't watching that, so I don't know. Maybe, maybe not, but yeah, there's 3 buildings there that were fairly empty for a while, so
Yeah. It's exciting.
yeah.
Looks like they started on the car wash.
Yes. They have. So that should get moving here
Glad to
pretty
see
quick.
that.
Okay, anything else from George or Steve? Nothing?
Nope.
All right, so we will adjourn until January's meeting. Merry Christmas, Happy New
Yes,
Year.
Happy New Year.
We survived another year.
We did.